I love downhill bike racing. That was a thoroughly enjoyable viewing experience. The Downhill Mountain Bike World Championships always has some differences when it is compared to the World Cup Series, and the 2024 race in Andorra kept up the tradition. Different production team, different commentators, different race order rules, and a lot more rainbows. This year we had the familiarity of Rick McLaughlin on the broadcast holding down the fort with the addition of Kiwi Enduro racer Charlie Murray as the co-host. And I thought Charlie was actually really good. He was relaxed, chatting with your mate style conversation with some technical insight. The analysts in me did want more in-depth rider-specific technique analysis, but for a first-time commentating, that was decent. Last year's broadcast in Fort William had that weird, bizarre, fake bike landing noises that sounded like a wet bag of spanners hitting the ground. It was added in for every jump landing, some corners, sometimes when they were in the air. It was really bad. Luckily, none of that this year, but we did get some funky dust cloud wipes when transitioning from start gate to live. I didn't hate that. One thing I did hate was the running order, which seeds the qualified riders according to their UCI World Ranking. And riders like Miriam, who have had a rough season due to injury, are lower in the points, so they start earlier. And despite her qualifying the fastest, which is just a silly way of doing it, I vote for that to change. So enough complaining, let's talk about the racing by going back in time a couple of days and recap the Junior World Championships. There unfortunately was no live broadcast of the race, so hopefully I can flesh out the result sheets for you. And as is tradition, we'll start with the junior women and kick things off, and we were all waiting to see if Iris van Leuven could back up her insane qualifying winning margin and defend her Junior World Championship title. Iris's compatriot Sasha Ernest was the first to mount a challenge with some fast top splits, but she finished the run 12 seconds behind the winner, which was enough for bronze. Second in the day went to Ella Svegby from Sweden, who was the rider for our course preview run, and we saw she was on the hunt from day one with the pace of that preview. After an excellent race run, she scored a time that would have placed her in second in the elite qualifying that took place later that day. A well-deserved second place medal, but one rider was on another level this weekend. Iris van Leuven was on a mission all week. Her qualifying time was not just faster than all the elite women, it was a lot faster. Normally we don't see junior girls even getting close to the elites, but Iris broke the mold this week, and on her race run, she smashed it, beating second place Ella by 6.5 seconds and beating the elite women's winning race time. Yeah, I know it was 2 days later on a different track, it was more beat up, but I was still sick. How about the junior men though? There were some juicy stories in that race too. First of all, had the qualifying drama with race favourite Asa Vermette. On his last practice run before qualifying, he had a big crash, damaged his bike, enough that he needed to borrow or assemble a new bike for his run. The Frameworks team scrambled to get something ready for him to ride, and he then went on to not only win qualifying, but post a time that would have put him in second in the elite qualifying. And I'm seeing a theme here with these top junior riders, and there is more to this event, but that's a story for Nico and Asa to tell. Then, in the final, we witnessed a surprise result from American Bodie Burke, who has always been fast in practice, but hasn't landed a result to match his practice speed at the world events. He did just win one of the European IXS Cup races, which shows that this is no fluke. Third place for Bodie at the World Championships, and an insane fastest top split. Dude, he must have been close to ripping his bars out the stem out of that start gate kind of fast. Now, prior to this race, I pretty much said that Max Alran had this in the bag, and he certainly looked good on track. His flowy style worked well for carrying speed on the big traverses, and his second place in qualifying showed he was on pace. On his race run, he was flying. Fastest at split 2, fastest at split 3, and it was looking like it was gonna be his. But at the finish line, another rider had done something magical. Second place for Max Alran, and it was the dude, Asa Vermette, who would deny Max the gold and win his first ever World Championships. But it wasn't without drama though. Asa was actually 14th at the first split, and then midway down his run, he thought he'd picked up a mechanical. He went to pedal and something jammed, just momentarily, so Asa decided to focus on not pedaling for the rest of his run. Unbeknownst to him, whatever caused the jam immediately resolved itself, and he could have pedaled. It might seem daft to not even try to pedal again, but anyone that's tried to brute force through a drivetrain jam and had their cranks lock in a bad position knows it's impossible to ride well if that happens. So, on the flatter traversing sections of the track, Asa focused on flow and speed and tucking, and he made up time on Max. A 1.5 second gain with pure flow, which is just testament to his skills. A well-deserved gold medal and rainbow stripes for Asa Vermette, as the people put all the stuff in the bin. I've got to shout out Elise MP, who blew everyone away on her run with some super aggressive and just comfy riding. We knew the privateer racer was on one as she won the Pinkbike Corners for Doe prize by consistently nailing the top rock garden in practice. Go check out that vid if you want to see which riders won practice. Tani was riding the best I've seen her all year in practice this week. And the way she was driving the bike through the turns and pumping the transitions just exuded confidence and speed. If body English could be heard, Tani was shouting, "Let's go!" More than a few spectators were calling her for the win, and she delivered a spectacular run on race day. Fastest in the top split and consistent speed through the middle had her poised for the win. But some caution in the last tech section and the bottom turn lost her time on the way to a bronze medal position. After her super confident winning qualifying run, Miriam Nicole was the favourite coming into the final. I was excited to see what she could do on the track, but unfortunately due to the bizarre running order, we barely saw any of her run. So we didn't get to see if there were any rad moments or costly mistakes in the middle sections. She didn't seem overly stoked at the finish despite going into the lead, so I'm guessing it wasn't the perfect run. Despite that, she sat in the hot seat all the way until the last rider. Valley Hall delivered us one of the best races I have witnessed by battling with Miriam Nicole's splits the whole way down the track. She was behind Miriam at split 2, in front at split 3, behind again at split 4. Confident, composed riding, railing those turns and keeping on the gas across the line. And she takes the win by half a second to win her third World Championships in a row. Unreal riding from the Austrian and another medal for her collection. I had to go for a walk after watching that to just calm down. It was a good one. The elite men, I mean, what an amazing race. I was on the edge of my seat for the whole thing. There were just so many insane moments, so many riders pulling time from nowhere, leaving us scratching our heads. I flippin' loved it. There were many amazing moments, but I'll just focus on the medals. Benoit Coulange was so close. He was so close. He wasn't the fastest at the top, but he just kept winding on the speed as he went. He buried himself on the pedals in the crucial turns, like out of that corner before the speed trap and across the flat piece where Suarez was so quick. He was so aggressive into the rock garden, but he maintained composure and didn't get bucked off line like so many before him. Second place for Benny will feel pretty good. Finn Isles looked like he was going to knock Coulange off the hot seat during his run. His corner speed up the top was so consistent, and I feel confident in saying his rock garden was the fastest out of anyone. He came in so aggressive and fast like many others, but he was the only rider that came that aggressive and still managed to set up to cleanly slot through those rocks to carry the speed out at the end. Sublime riding. Unfortunately for Finn, Benoit was a touch quicker in that last sector and knocked Finn down into third place. But today was for new world champion Loic Bruni. His run was really good. It was amazingly consistent and precise. The splits tell the story. 6th at the first split, 8th at the second, 6th at the third, 6th at the fourth, and then he unleashed all of his fury on that final sector. No special lines, nothing secret and mysterious. He just went so flippin' fast down that final super rough straight. Like, he was clearly going so much faster than anyone else down it. It was unbelievable, and the commitment and composure to just monster truck that gnarly straight like he did. He made up half a second on Benoit, who was already one of the fastest in that final sector. Well deserved. Then it was only down to Bruni to deny Vergier that win, but it did not go well for Bruno. A crash dashed his chances of getting another rainbow jersey, and I wanted to know what happened. So I went to find Sweaty Ben and see what he thought. Where is he? Thanks, Dry Ben. Sweaty Ben here. I've come to the corner that was the cause of many a moment, and the one that maybe decided who won the race. Well, definitely who didn't win the race. It's this corner, that one, the Bruni turn. If it had been a scrub, it would have been one of the sickest scrubs you've ever seen, because he came over the crest like that. Why was everyone just doing the most ferocious, squint, disgusting pencils out of this? Let me try and figure it out. So, you come into this corner with the most insane speed, and when we were doing inside the tape, I was like, this is one of those corners you want to slow down for, but you shouldn't, and you don't have to. And absolutely everyone was doing that in the race. They were just hitting this as fast as they could. Unfortunately, we can't show any footage of it. It'll just be practice footage. But the difference from the practice footage to the race is they were going a little bit quicker and the rut's a little bit deeper, but the shape of it is still very similar. So a lot of people were coming in. You come in super fast, you do your late braking, you hit the initial scoop of the corner, it loads the bike up, and you're turning maybe a little bit of a front wheel drift, and you take off, but there's a crest and then there's another crest. And what happens is the bike soaks up the first bump, you're turning, your front wheel takes off, but then maybe your front wheel's turned a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, and it clips the next crest. And if your wheel's not pointing exactly where your momentum is taking you, what will happen is it'll just turn your front end a little bit. So it'll like bounce and you'll go, whoa, and you get like a big squint pencil air. So some people got it really clean, but a lot of people just got it a little bit squint. And it was because of that, momentary front wheel in the air. And if your front wheel wasn't the perfect angle, it sent you squint. But that's not what happened to Bruni. No, it was not. Bruni was going so fast. So fast. I was talking with a few riders, they can't understand how he made up so much time up there. He's the world champ master. So he stepped up his game. He was going even quicker. And what he was trying to do, he said he was trying to load up early and then try and go a little bit lighter over the crest. And he reckons he was just off a little bit. And he actually pushed the front before the kind of main upslope. So that meant either he hit something, slipped on something, or his front wheel was just that far too wide and he washed it out before that scoop. So just here, potentially even that, there's a mark there, there's a few marks there. He washed the front and he came sailing into view at a ferocious angle that not even the master could save. This is world champs. You got to push things to the limit. You got to go 100%. Bruni went for it. He was on for another world champs jersey, but it wasn't to be this time. So he gave it to his friend. Nice gift. Real stand-up guy is Bruni. And I bet when he gave him the hug, I bet he was like, I'm glad it was you. Because him and Loris, old friends, old racers. That was a sick race. So yeah, this corner was really, really, really hard. And it provided some good moments. So yeah, that's it. We'll go check in with the man himself and see if I'm right. Sweaty Ben out. So we saw quite a few people in this turn almost bin it. And then you came down and what happened?
That catch was always a little bit soft, all week. And I didn't see, coming in, I didn't see anything special, anything different. And I think I was a bit faster, but I had to push in the first hole to not have the second lip lifting the front wheel. So I pushed, and as I pushed, I don't know, nothing happened, and just the both wheel went. So maybe I misjudged a bit the speed coming into this section, but I wasn't playing with fire there. So I was more higher up. I was a bit more playing with fire. So I was a bit disappointed to crash here, and surprised. But yeah, it's okay.
And was the corner just way different than it had been in practice?
No, like I said, when I came into it, I was really not expecting the outcome that I had. It looked sick, the same catch, soft of course, but still gonna support me enough to launch me on that ski track. And so I was pretty surprised to lose the control there. So I don't know, maybe I need to go back and check, but I don't think there was anything bad. But in the first, for example, you start first jump blind, in the landing there was a massive rolling rock. So there was maybe things like this hidden, because that track is quite hard it's dirty, let's say.
Well, we're going up to it, so I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, please do. And explain me why I crashed. You gave me some time.
Man, right, well, hope you're all good and good luck for next week.
Thanks so much.
Final note as we sign off from World Championships here in Andorra. Greg Minnaar had his final ever World Championships, which is a hint at the long debated retirement of the greatest rider of all time. He left things pretty vague though in his announcement, as he didn't mention when his last World Cup Series race would be. I'm pretty sure he'll see out this season, but it does leave things open for some more World Cup races in the future. I so wanted him to pull a result this weekend, and he rode some sections faster than anyone else during practice, which had people's jaws on the floor. It wasn't to be, but it was an impressive send-off for Greg's rainbow chasing career. Well, that was a fantastic week. Luckily, you've not long to wait for the next one, as we're about to jump in the hire cars and peel rubber over the border to Ludenville. Stay tuned, and we'll see you there for more questionable content here in Pinkbike. Should jump over, that would be like a good outro. It's a really high balcony, I probably shouldn't. I've got big legs, but they're not that big. There's no one coming past now. Quick, I'm just going to go throw all of my bottle collection in the bin.